Okay, we're live. Good to go. Welcome again, everybody, to our another one of our seminars. This is the March 2016 Oz Hair Seminar. So we hope you all will enjoy this one. We did this quite a while back, but I thought it would be a good idea to go through it again because it's such a big part of what we do and how we show people our hair regrowth results. And that is the photo comparison system that we use. So I'll go through this briefly this evening with you and just give you some ideas about how this works and how this photo comparison system actually makes it a lot easier for you to see the clinical results that we provide. So what we'll do first is we'll look at why we need to firstly use this photo comparison system. I'll also introduce how we measure the improvements with the before and after photos, and then I'll zip through how we actually take the photos. So firstly, let's look at why we use before and after photographs. Well, basically, in our experience, it's the only real way of showing the clinical results. Keep in mind that it's very difficult for patients and their family members and friends to remember their initial hair condition before they actually started the treatment. So it really makes it a lot more difficult to judge without actually without actually having any previous photos and then comparing those to photos taken a few months later. So yeah, it's one of those things where people look at themselves every day in the mirror, and we're usually our own worst critic, so it's a lot more difficult to make to see the changes, unless the changes are very obvious, and usually that takes a lot longer period. So initially in our earlier stage photographs, we really do rely on the photos, and 99+% of the time we do show some improvement. But the photos are very, very important to show that more clearly to our patients. So as it says here, these photos provide the visual evidence of your hair regrowth. So usually the photos don't tell a lie. It shows exactly the state of your hair at that particular day and time that it was taken. And a good example of this is a gentleman that came to see us a couple of years ago now, and he'd been using our treatment for a couple of months and didn't believe he'd actually achieved a result. So he came in and we said, well, let's have a look at the first photo we took of your scalp a couple of months ago, and we'll do another set of photos today for you just to see if there's any change. Well, here's that photo, and I hope you can see it there at home. But there's the before, and there's the after. I'm quite sure you can clearly see the difference there. Now, to be fair to this gentleman, this is like a top view photograph. It's a view that we take, from the top of the top of the scalp, and it's not easy for people to see this view. Obviously, it's not. Even if we sort of bend down in the mirror, it'd be impossible to actually see this. So, again, stresses the importance of the photos, that we can actually take the photos on certain angles that we wouldn't normally be able to see by ourselves unless we get two mirrors, and we might be able to do it that way. But this photo is clearly showing a result, but obviously this gentleman just looking in the mirror, just at a direct sort of front-on view, he couldn't see much change. But the change is clearly evident here after a couple of months. So definitely a good result showing there after a short period of treatment. So let's look at now, how do we measure the improvements with our before and after shots? Well, there's two main methods we use. We use firstly a magnified photo comparison method, and secondly we use normal view photographic comparison. So I'll first look at the magnified types of photos that we use, and these are when we're doing a magnified images, these are the types of things that we look for to show the change over time. from your before shot to the after shot. So firstly, we look at the thickness of the hair. We'll look at shininess, texture of the hair to see if that's improved. Color change, we'll note any color changes, particularly going from a lighter color to a darker color. Usually the darker color indicates that the hair is sort of better nourished and it's in better condition. We also look at the number of erect hairs in that particular photo, and so the erect hairs means the number of hairs that are actually standing up on the scalp as opposed to sort of lying flat, and I'll show you some examples of that soon. And number 5, also, naturally, that's quite an obvious one, the increased amount of hair in the photo. We obviously want to see some more hair in the after photo. So this is the first point that I just mentioned, the thickness of the hair. So apologies for this first photo, it's not as clear. So we're basically looking at, if you can sort of see some of these are quite thin compared to these ones, and these ones that have become a lot thicker in the after photo there. So, we're looking at hairs that are much thicker. These are darker as well. So we will look for thicker hairs when we do our photo comparison. Also shininess, texture of the hair. So we'll look at that as a sign of improvement as well. So if you look at this photo, you can clearly see that the hairs in this after shot compared to these, the hair's a lot shinier, which means it's in better health, it's in better condition. I mentioned before about color change. So usually going from initially sort of lighter hairs, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 hairs in this photo. And over here, we can see that these lighter hairs, and these are very thin, mind you, might be very hard to see there at home, but those hairs have actually darkened. Well, not all of them, but a few of them have darkened. So that's a sign of progress. And these are just like about 3 or 4 months later, we're seeing that change. So you're not going to see that sort of change in a couple of days or a couple of weeks. It does take a few months, but they're one of the changes that we do look for when we do our photo comparison. I mentioned before about the number of erect hairs. So that's those hairs that are actually standing up on the scalp. And if you see the photo here, we're getting a lot of hairs that are just sort of lying flat down on the scalp. With our treatment, as we're putting more sort of more nutrition into the hair follicles and helping to control the hormone buildup around those follicles, those hair roots are going to be a lot more healthy. And just like a healthy flower, healthy plant would sort of stand up more when it's in better condition. The hair's no different. So we do look at we do sort of compare the number of hairs that are actually standing up on the scalp from photo to photo, from before to after photo. And the last one, the obvious one, was of course an increased amount of hair. So we've got this one here, which is a lot of empty spots and thin hairs here, but quite thin, not much to see. And over here we are getting some more hairs in the same area of the scalp. So keep in mind that these are the same. Sorry, I'm going this way, sorry. We are getting, increase in the amount of hairs from this photo to this one. So that's the before shot, that's the after shot. So that's the sort of things that we would expect. We'll go on and look at how we actually take the photos. Well, we do photos at what we call the middle highest point of the scalp. So that's one of our reference points. We'll also do one 5 centimeters backward from this highest point. We'll do another one 3 centimeter to the right, sometimes to the left as well, if need be, from this highest point, and 5 centimeter to the front of this highest point, this highest middle point that we mentioned here. So they're the standard shots that we take. Every time you come back in for your comparison photos, we'll do these same shots again for you. So again, just showing some photos there. We'll go to this one here. This is the photo that we take at the highest middle point. So that's like a normal view shot. These are the magnified. So we've got that one there. That's that highest middle point. That's at 60 magnification, and this is at 200 magnification, so it's a lot closer. Okay, so obviously the closer we get with the photo, we can actually we're going a bit closer, and we can even see a bit more about the oiliness or the actual condition of the scalp, which can help to guide the types of hair formulas that we can recommend our patients to use. So because we've got a number of hair tonics that we use that are applied externally to the scalp, so we've got some flexibility in terms of the choice we select, which will actually we try and match it to your scalp type, which is quite important. These are the other photos. These are the ones that are sort of the 5 centimeter from this. There's 5 centimeter towards the back. This is the point on the right, 3 centimeters to the right and 5 centimeters to the front. So these are very standard shots that you will receive if you come and have your photos with us, if you start on one of our programs. So there are magnified photos that look like this, as I've just showed. And now I'll go to the normal view photos that we use. So we do three types. There's a front or top view, a side view, and a back view. So there's our front top view there, and that's sort of a nice one, just showing the top front part there. And in this young gentleman here, has actually got quite a good result there, quite a decent patch of hair thinning in that spot there. And as you can see in the after shot, what's that, about two and a bit months later, or not even 2 months, it's already covered up quite nicely. So quite a good result after a reasonably short period of treatment. We've got a side view photo there as well, showing the side there. Again, patch of hair thinness here, much better after a couple of months of treatment. And finally, a standard back view shot where we can, we're mainly focusing on the crown area. And as you can see, this gentleman, after about 4 months, he sort of achieved significant improvement in that crown area. There's another type of photo that we do take if need be. That's a back photo with measurement. So we have done that for some of our patients. So it's another type that we do need. We can actually measure the sort of the distance of the thinning area. So from where the thinning starts on one side to where it sort of, I don't know, starts or finishes on the other side, and then we'll do a comparison measurement later on for the after photo. So that's one that we have used quite a bit, but not for all patients. So just in conclusion, I'd just like to finish by saying photo comparison is very important to see the clinical results. As I said, it's not always easy to remember what your hair condition was like prior to starting treatment. I mean, I guess this will go for any treatment, whether you're going to use a pharmaceutical or another type of herbal hair regrowth treatment. I would suggest to use some sort of photo comparison system, because it will make it a bit easier for you to see the results. And keep in mind that here at OzHair we do offer a professional photo comparison system. We've been using this system here for about 20 years, so we've got a lot of experience in taking the shots and also comparing them, because it's, as you can see, it's not always easy to see the areas of regrowth. Sometimes they need to be pointed out, but as I said, now 99+% of the time the results are there. So for more information about what we do here at OzHair, please feel free to visit one of our websites. The OzHair one is our main one for our local customers here in Melbourne, www.ozhair.com.au, and others can go to our 101.com.au website as well. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say on this topic tonight. I will just like to thank everybody again for joining us this evening. And as usual, we will have a nutrition topic tonight. We've got quite an interesting one. It'll give us some some very good insights into what sort of makes up a good breakfast, or what we should be eating in the morning, something healthy and nutritious. So I'm sure you'll get a lot out of that. So please do stick around. Give us a quick minute to just do the make the change and get the other presentation material up. But we will be back shortly and get that going. And I'm sure you'll learn some good information about that one as well. So please just bear with us.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Nick has just pointed out, our topic for today is some healthy breakfast options or ideas. So throughout the presentation today, what we are going to look at is why breakfast is actually so important for us. We're going to look at some tips to ensure that you actually are having a proper breakfast each morning. And finally, we are going to look at a few recipe ideas for you to try out at home. Let's get straight into it though. So breakfast, the most important meal of the day. I'm sure that most of you have heard breakfast referred to as that before. So we will have a kind of a quick look at the reasons why people say this is and why some people don't agree with it. So let's kind of begin by just looking at the word breakfast. So we're breaking it down. We've got break, fast. So essentially we are breaking the fast, and that's because you've been asleep for hopefully around about 8 hours, and breakfast is the first meal that you're having since then. So breakfast is providing the body and the brain with fuel after an overnight fast. Now, if you're skipping that first meal, you're essentially running on empty while you're still expecting 100% from your body and your brain. So breakfast is your first opportunity to provide your body with the nutrients that it requires to get started in the morning. Now, some of these key nutrients are calcium, iron, protein, fibre, and your B vitamins. Now, research has actually shown that if you miss these nutrients at breakfast time, then they're less likely to be compensated for later in the day. Now, that's not to say that you won't get these nutrients throughout the day, but more so because they're so easy to include in a typical breakfast, getting that hit in the morning of all of these great nutrients is going to make it a whole lot easier for you to achieve your recommended daily intake of these nutrients. Now, obviously, some people don't do that, and that can be due to a lack of time or simply just a lack of awareness. But those things we'll also be talking about. Now, breakfast for brain power. So the brain needs a certain kind of energy source in order for it to function optimally, and that energy source is glucose. So eating a breakfast that contains carbohydrates restores glucose levels. It also keeps the brain fired up and functioning all throughout the day. Now, there are some health studies out there that have shown that people who regularly eat a healthy breakfast have a lower body weight, decreased rates of heart disease, decreased rates of hypertension, which is your high blood pressure, and also lower rates of diabetes. Now, establishing a routine with breakfast is really important. So if you're actually able to establish a healthy breakfast routine early on in life, the research has shown that you're more likely to maintain those habits throughout other stages of your life. It's also a great opportunity for the family to sit together so the kids can actually see what their parents are eating and learn from them. And that's obviously providing that the parents are having a healthy breakfast as well. What are some of the benefits of a regular breakfast? It improves energy levels, improves your metabolism, provides beneficial nutrients, as we've already discussed, reduces the chances of overeating sugar and processed carbohydrates throughout the day. So if you start the day with a proper, healthy, balanced breakfast and you get your protein and your carbohydrates in there, your blood sugar levels are more maintained, your metabolism is fired up, you're going to be less likely to binge later on. And those binge foods are your sugars and your processed carbs, which we all know are not that good for us. As I've just said, it also stabilizes your blood sugar levels. And it improves your cognitive function, which is your memory and your concentration. So why do some people skip breakfast? One of the reasons could be no appetite in the morning. Some people just are not hungry when they wake up, and they can even feel sick and nauseous if they eat when they first wake up. For some people, it's just because their hunger signals have been switched off. Now, if you regularly go without breakfast, then that is going to interfere with those hunger signals, and it's the same as a thirst signal. If you keep ignoring it, it just switches off. So for a lot of people, that could be the reason why they don't have an appetite in the morning. Don't force food down if you're not hungry in the morning. It's just going to make you feel sick. So obviously that's not what we want to do. Try changing up your routine. So many people find that after they include breakfast back into their morning routine for a few weeks, their hunger signals return to normal and they feel hungry again first thing in the morning when they wake up. At the end of the day, though, although the reasons we've already spoken about demonstrate the benefits of a healthy breakfast, if you do end up skipping it for whatever reason, just ensure that you're actually getting all of the nutrients that your body requires throughout the rest of the day. Another reason is some people wake up too late to eat. They generally get up and they need to run out of the door straight away. And another really popular one that I hear a lot is people skip breakfast in order to manage their weight. Now, there are some studies out there that show that skipping breakfast can reduce weight, but the thing is, weight loss is not the only consideration when you're fasting, and obviously that's from overnight up until around about lunchtime, some people do. People who do fast in the morning are also tending to binge on more fat and carbohydrates throughout the day compared to those who eat a regular healthy breakfast each morning. And another thing to keep in mind is your mood and your concentration. Now, these are influenced by a healthy breakfast as well. So while skipping breakfast may be a part of your weight loss goal, it may actually be detrimental for you because your concentration and your mood, etc., are going to be affected more negatively. So it's something you definitely need to weigh up if you're considering fasting in the morning. Some tips to ensure that you're actually starting your day the right way. Set your alarm half an hour earlier so that you've got time to prepare breakfast. If you're one of these people that misses breakfast because you wake up too late, it's as simple as making sure you've got all the ingredients ready the night before, setting your alarm, getting up, having your breakfast before you go out the door. If you are going into work on public transport, just look at some really easy and portable breakfast options that are easy to eat on the go, and we'll have a chat about them in just a minute. Try and put aside a few hours on the weekend to make up maybe some savoury muffins or a vegetable slice, like a zucchini slice or something that's really easy to eat on the go, easy to pack away as well. And if you have a suitable storage at work, keep your breakfast options there so that you can enjoy them once you arrive. So that could be maybe a fridge, a communal cupboard. It can even be your desk drawers. Just, obviously if you need a refrigerator for what it is, then you need to make sure you've got that. But for some people, it's simply just a cupboard. All right, so now some healthy breakfast choices. So obviously not an exhaustive list, just a few we can look at. Whole grain toast with your avocado, tomato, and spinach, and you can add an egg to that for an extra nutrient boost. So you've got, with your avocado, you've got your essential fatty acids, you've got protein, you've got your vegetables in there, so your tomato and spinach, which are going to give you a wide range of nutrients. Your egg, eggs are just a powerhouse of nutrition, complete protein, carbohydrates, and fat all in that little eggshell. So a simple breakfast like that is going to ensure you start your day right. Homemade porridge with fresh berries, nuts, and seeds. Now, whether you use rolled oats, whether you use quinoa, whether you use buckwheat, however you want to make your porridge is up to you, but using fresh berries, nuts, and seeds is a really great way to give that a boost. Greek yogurt with your fresh fruit, nuts, and seeds. Smoothies, however you like to make them. A whole lot of vegetables, maybe a couple of fruits in there to make it a bit sweeter. A few weeks ago, I did look at a green juice that I like to have in the morning. Just trying to think the smoothie that I would have had this morning. I had water and some almond milk. I had some vanilla protein powder, some spinach, a frozen banana, some chia seeds. Just blends up and it's delicious and a really great way to start the day. Eggs. As I've just said, they are a powerhouse of nutrition, so serve them however you like to have them, on grainy toast with vegetables. They're also a great meal to have on the go. Another really quick and easy meal, get a banana, slice it in half, smear a natural peanut butter on it, put some strawberries on the top and a little bit of cinnamon. Once again, you've got your carbohydrates, you've got your protein, you've got fat from the peanut butter as well, the cinnamon for your blood sugar stabilization. That one and eggs are one that I go to if I'm in a rush. If I do rely on eggs, I might hard boil a couple of eggs, take them to eat on the train with a banana or something like that. And once again, I'm making sure that I have my protein, fats, and carbohydrates all covered. Healthy leftovers from the night before. Now, a lot of people shy away from this, but there's no need to. Breakfast doesn't have to be a typical breakfast. If you've had a really healthy dinner and you've got leftovers, then warm that up for the next day. There are no hard and fast rules about what you need to have as long as you are following healthy nutritional guidelines. So don't shy away from that and experimenting with different breakfast options. And finally, what about cereals? I know a lot of people do tend to go for cereals because they are quick and easy and a lot of people think nutritious. Unfortunately, for all the good they do contain a lot of sugar. And that unfortunately does outweigh a lot of the benefits that they provide. If you are a big fan of cereals and you'd like to keep going with cereal first thing in the morning, you've got a few options. You can try making your own if you've got the time for that, or you can go into a health food shop. The ones that are sold in bulk generally are made up fresh, obviously, and contain less sugar. There's a lot of prepackaged ones in a health food shop, which you can speak to the people behind the counter and they can help you with that. Or if you are just in a local supermarket, you just want to look at your labels. You need to really learn how to read your food labels and make sure that the sugar content is not too high. So cereals, I don't completely tell people to shy away from them. I just know that there's a whole lot of other options that people can go to before they reach for the cereal box. Now, as I said, just a few recipes. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the ingredients and the method, etc. If you'd like to work on, try any of them, you can, have a look at the video again and just pause it and write it down. First one, we've got a chocolate chia pudding. Now, this could be a snack, it could be a dessert, it can be breakfast. It's perfect for all of those things. Got coconut milk, so really good source of your saturated fat. Chia seeds, which you've got your essential fatty acids, got some protein in there. Your rolled oats to help with your lowering of cholesterol. Your raw cacao, which is for magnesium, etc. So yeah, you follow those ingredients, those instructions. Really simple to put together. Let it set in the fridge. Top it with berries and nuts and seeds, whatever you'd like, and that's a really, really delicious one. Quinoa power porridge. Now, this is a recipe that comes from Teresa Cutter, who is the healthy chef. If you just jump onto her website, she posts so many of her recipes on there free of charge, which is amazing. Now, this is a porridge which is obviously made with quinoa instead of rolled oats. Really delicious, really quick and easy. Can be made up the night before and then just warmed the next morning. And once again, ensuring that you're starting your day correctly. Vegetable frittatas. Now, these ones I also go to quite often. Essentially, can be made up as a big frittata, but I also make them up into little muffin tins. You can see the ingredients that are there. You can essentially put whatever vegetables that you want to put in there. I just try and have a whole range of colours. The more colours in your bowl, the better kind of range of nutrients you are getting. So yeah, I make them up. I keep a couple on hand and the rest I can freeze. You take them out the night before and they're great as a snack. You can have them for breakfast. You can have them as morning or afternoon tea, whatever it is that suits you. They can be warmed up quickly or they can be eaten cold. That one's entirely up to you. So there's 3 quick and easy recipes that you can try and see if any of them work for you. So just to summarise what we've gone over, starting the day with a hearty breakfast is a good way to fuel the body for the day ahead, but that doesn't necessarily mean it works for everyone. If you're not a morning person, if you're not someone that can eat breakfast in the morning, as I said, just ensure that you can try and change your routine, do it for a couple of weeks to try and include breakfast and see if that works for you. If it doesn't, just make sure that you are actually getting all of your nutritional requirements throughout the rest of the day, okay? Now, although studies show that skipping breakfast can be beneficial for weight loss, there are many other benefits that are not being taken into consideration. As I said, mood, concentration levels, etc. Follow some of the simple recipes that we've discussed to make sure that you're getting a good boost of your beneficial nutrients first thing in the morning. I always look at breakfast as a great way to get either 1 or 2 of your 5 serves of vegetables in for the day. Really easy, you know, tomatoes, spinach, mushrooms, whatever you want. It's surprising how quickly that can total up to your 5 serves of vegetables. So starting with breakfast is just a really great way to kickstart that. And finally, as I like to harp on, not all nutrition advice is going to be relevant for all people. So if you have any particular medical or dietary concerns, speak to your healthcare professional. That can help guide you through what will or will not work for you. So unfortunately, it's not a one-size-fits-all program. It never is. It's never that easy. But if you need any more advice, you can speak to a healthcare professional about that. And that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in, and I will be back next time.